Okay, so Wayne, you're taking us on a tour.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of school tours, which was very exciting for us, but now with our food safety certifications, we kind of just limit the people that we invite to be part of on our shed and so forth, because we are actually food safety certified. There's a lot of different types of practices that we need to do in order to maintain that certification, and also to make sure that no contamination comes from any outsource or anything that might obviously contaminate or taint our product that we try to ship to the groceries or for people to consume. All of our vegetables and fruit are harvested in what we call these large field bins. And these field bins, they handle about probably 18 bushels of product, and everything is harvested in those bins. And we use those bins to our advantage because, as you can see, we can harvest all the product and stack them up and place them in our cooler. Our harvest crews actually harvest the product much faster than we usually can pack it and ship it.
Right.
Because we are on a time schedule, because we're actually dealing with a live product. A lot of people don't realize that fruit and vegetables, they're a live organism, and they continue to ripen, they continue to mature. In order for us to get the apples out of the bins without bruising them, we float them out. We actually submerge the bin in this water. This water has detergent and chlorine in it. We use calcium hypochlorite as our food safety type of disinfectant, but it also helps to maintain good firm fruit flesh. They're washed, and they also come up on this conveyor where these two gentlemen up here, they're actually removing all the leaves. We want to get all the leaves out. So as you can see, all the apples, they're actually getting washed. And then the smaller ones that we do not sell, that we do not have any type of market for, which are really small, like this size, they fall through this chain size, or this chain. Basically, it just falls right through. It takes out the real small ones. We do not have a market for these real small ones. This machine right here is a washer. We have our chlorinated water right here, and there's a series of brushes through this machine that rolls in a circular motion. So as the apples are pre-sorted to get the rotten ones out and the leaves out, then they're actually washed. And they're brought through, and then they have drying brushes that actually dry them. This process right here is probably one of the most important processes that we do. We establish the grade. All of our apples and peaches and vegetables, they are designated a grade by the USDA. And we try to establish the grade ourselves by sorting through them. And what they're actually doing is they're actually removing the apples that have a defect on them. And they're putting them on different belts, and they go to different areas. Just to show you, this is due to a calcium deficiency. It's called corking. And there's really nothing wrong with that apple, except it just has a little blemish on the skin. But we remove that to take it out because it doesn't meet the grade. This machine here, that's very long, that goes all the way down, it's our sizer. And it's ran by a computer, and each individual piece of fruit gets weighed. These apples here, we're actually packing them up for shipping. These are called a 138 size apple. That means there's 138 apples in each box. They'll have all the apples in the same direction. They face the red color up on top.
Ooh. Now what's the temperature in here?
We keep the temperature about 33 degrees.
Okay.
Apples will not freeze until it gets about 28 degrees.
Really? That's okay.
Because the sugar lowers the freezing temperature.
Okay.
All these apples here are ready to be shipped.
Wow.
So we try to bring that ripening process down as much as we can in order to get longevity, to make it to the grocery store and still be in the good quality and so forth. and we'll bring it and run it through here, and it'll have that cold water come over it, and we'll actually reduce that flesh temperature easily by 30 degrees. And that ripening process is basically taking all those starches and carbohydrates that's accumulated through the natural process of photosynthesis, and then it breaks it all down into the sugars that we can actually taste and the natural juices and so forth. Basically, what we can't ship, we sell in our farm market because that's what you and I want to eat. Right. We want to eat it. We want to come to the farm and we want to eat a tree-ripened fruit that's already ready to eat, that we don't have to let sit on the counter for 2 days for it to ripen. Well, we're probably pushing up to where we're looking at somewhere around 38,000 bushel, and we still have more to harvest.
Per year?
Per year.
Okay.
Per year. That's just apples. You know, I can go into a lot of stuff. But as far as harvesting the product, it has remained the same.
Okay, I'm so excited to be here, and I was just telling you it's National Farmers Day, and you said every day is National Farmers Day, but I'm with one of the finest farmers that I know. We're nestled down here in the Shawnee National Forest at Rendleman Orchards. This is President, and they call you Ren, right?
Correct.
How long has this farm and this operation been in existence?
The land that we're staying on right now was bought in 1873 by my great-grandfather. This part here of the farm is the original, part of the original 88 acres. And since then, over the years, we have grown. And this was in 1906. So it was over 100 years ago.
Was that Grover?
That was Grover.
It's Grover, okay.
And that's whenever he really started growing fruit, and we have been growing fruit ever since. Where we are here right now are called Gold Rush. It was named 2 years ago as the Illinois apple for the state of Illinois. It is a late apple, as you can see. It is a tart apple, and it does keep very well. But this makes a very good cider, being tart. And as you see, we have cider here, and cider, every cider maker has his own combination. Right. So therefore, you're not going to get any cider maker tell you what he exactly puts in, because that's a trade secret to everybody. But they are different tastes of cider for the different area that a lot of people live in. Now today, this here is not hard cider. This is what we call sweet cider.
Okay.
It has not been fermented. It's more of what you would call an apple juice.
Now, over the years, I mean, I'm sure you have seen so much, you know, being here all these years, but are you excited, and what do you look forward in the future of this fresh and local movement, that more people are wondering about food, where it comes from?
Well, the local has got to be very great. Really, before the local started, which did start about 5, 6, 7 years ago, was called the carbon footprint. Okay. And that was started by more of the younger generation. Right. That they was worried about the cost of transportation, bringing something so far that it was polluting the air for people to have certain things to eat. And therefore, then it kind of evolved into the local. Now we're sitting on a huge bed of limestone that was deposited millions of years ago, because this part of the state of Illinois was underwater at one time because of the glaciers pushed the good topsoil from up north down. Well, it didn't get quite down to here, as you can tell. We're still very hilly, but we do have a lot of the natural limestone. So we have different nutrients in the ground, and all that, everywhere you go, that flavors comes out in certain fruit and vegetables. I'll give you an example. You're standing on the ground right now. It's been in my family 143 years, and we're still raising stuff on it.
That's right.
You know, so we really appreciate the land. We love the land. So for some reason, the dirt gets in your blood.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it's love.
Yeah, it is.
That sounds corny.
No, I love it.
But it is to me. And you get that over the years of working with it. And I met, when you get older, you get more sentimental, and it's stronger when you're older than when you were young.
I bet. About I know we want to try this.
Well, the cider is is on the increase for people to drink. As you will see, the kids are drinking more juices.
Oh, yes.
And more kids, and less of the carbonated sodas,
right.
which is great. It's nature's nectar.
It's God's candy. That's what I say.
Yeah, it's nature's nectar to the kids, you know.
Right, and I'd much rather drink this than soda.
The apple is the #1 fruit for kids. It was bananas.
Really?
Now they've gone more to the apple.
Good. Well, let's have some cider. And is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, or?
Not really, unless there's
Okay.
something for you. I could probably talk all day and bore you to death, but that's what
Interesting to me.
I
So
like. I just love this part of the area and the farming of
we
it.
love it, and we thank you. That's good. Oh yeah, toast. All right, now we're in the farm market. We're here with Miss Betty Searles, and I hear that you actually run this whole show here.
Well,
is that true?
I have an awful lot of help.
Okay.
Michelle and I run it together, and then Wayne and Ren help us out with various situations.
Michelle was saying that you were an expert at this. I like to cook a lot with apples, and she said that you could kind of go through some of the varieties and tell us what's best for cooking, best for canning, and applesauce and cider and stuff like that. So,
Well, as far as the difference with the apples, we always tell people to get the apples that they like to eat
okay,
and then cook with them.
kind of like wine.
Exactly.
Okay.
The one exception being the Red Delicious, which we don't think cooks well because it loses some of its flavor when
Okay.
it's cooked. But our preference for apple butter is the Jonathan or the Goldens, and the best of
Okay.
both worlds is our Jonna Golds. Let me get our Jonna
Okay.
Golds, which, as you can see, are the
Beautiful.
red and the golden. So that's
Okay.
a cross between those.
And that's best for your butters and
Our apple sauce, our apple butters, we
Okay.
like to use those. And as far as fresh eating, every one of these are great.
they're all delicious.
And this time of year, they're all crispy. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want those mushy apples. There just aren't any. We love to eat as many apples as we can when they're fresh off the tree. We used to have placards all around the market that told why they were good for you, and the list is lengthy. Heart disease, of course, cholesterol, and cancer.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to take some of these back and cook on the show. And I'm making, with a real lean pork, I'm kind of making a sloppy joe with apples and onions. What type of apple would you suggest that I use for that?
I would think a sweeter apple like the Golden Delicious would be
Okay.
something that I would want to use with pork.
Okay.
In fact, we have a recipe that we distribute here with the pork and the apples and the onions.
Do they last? I mean, you take them home, would you put them in the fridge? Can you leave them out? What's your advice on that?
Well, we're keeping those here in our controlled refrigeration. By controlled, I mean with humidity and temperature at 32
Okay.
degrees and at very high humidity.
Okay.
At home, I would want you to keep them in your refrigerator in the
Okay.
crisper, or the hydrator as some people used to call it. And there's that little slide bar on that
Right.
crisper where it says more or less humidity. You want more.
You want more. I'm glad I've always wondered about that every time.
But you don't want to keep them in the plastic bag. Have you ever noticed that apple bags have those holes in them?
Right.
That's so they can breathe.
Okay.
Because an apple, though picked off the tree, is still a living organism.
Okay.
So those cells in there are changing.
Okay.
And that's what causes an apple to get ripe.
Okay.
Is because that cell has changed.
Okay.
So we'd want high humidity and low temperature. Don't turn your refrigerator down to 32 just to accommodate apples.
Okay.
But that's what we're storing them
That's what
at.
you keep. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so now I'm here. We're here in the farm market at Renneman's,
Yes.
and I'm going to gather up a bunch of this stuff, take it back to
Wonderful.
cook. How does that sound? But can
We
you
love
show
it.
me a little apple crisp recipe you can?
Yes, what I decided to show you was one of our easiest recipes made with our own local apples, and it's the crisp mix is a great seller for us, and it's because it's easy. We try to really make it easy for folks to buy apples and have something homemade. This is our family recipe.
Homemade.
Yes, my mother-in-law Betty, it's her crisp mix. What you do is I made one for you this morning, and what you do is choose the apple that you like. I chose Suncrisp for
Okay.
this because
That's
it's
a good one.
different. Yes, it's tart and sweet, crunchy, and you get them when they're blushed, ripe, and peel them and slice them. It takes 4 cups of apples, which is approximately 4 nice size apples.
Okay.
Put it in the bottom of your pan, pour this on top, dot it with butter. It just takes 4 tablespoons or less, depending, and bake it. It's all made here, it's fresh ingredients, it's fast, it's simple, and it tastes homemade because it is.
It is. And just to be clear, there's no sweeteners or any of that stuff either.
Just
It's
the natural
just the
sweetness
Okay.
from the fruit. And then we also offer 2 different kinds of applesauce. We use these to make crock pot pork chop and pork loin recipes. We use them, the applesauce in baking, apple butter in baking.
That's right. You can substitute that for your oils, can't you?
Oh yes, yes.
Right.
We need to offer that.
Right.
You know, as more and more generations come on, less people are doing it at home and they're wanting to buy it ready-made, but they still want the locally grown apple and tree ripened. So we do that for folks. And we have apple cider, of course, made from our own apples. It's all fresh pressed apples, no sugar added. That's a really popular item these days. It's always been popular, but now it's trendy
Even
too.
more. Yes.
We've taste tested it as a family and tried to pick our favorites and the best of the best. Would you like to taste
Can
a
we
crisp?
try? Yeah, we would love
we
that.
would Love for you to taste some here.
I didn't want to be rude, but
Yes, I thought you all
We've
might
got a
want to
customer
try
over
some
here.
of this. And like I said, that's with the Suncrisp apple, and you can choose whatever apple is your favorite to make your desserts
That's delicious.
from. It is. It's hard for us to even make it fast enough and keep up. So we
very good.
we get a lot of help, and sometimes we have to get extra help in here to help us with some of the things we do in harvest and in season. And we've called in a few extra last year and even more this year. And we've been very blessed to have our retail market growing and growing.
Today it's about orchards and farms and fresh and local. And did you know that Illinois is the top pumpkin producing state?
Is it?
Is that not neat?
I never knew that.
Yes, it is. It's amazing to me.
What have you done here? Because it's warm.
Well,
so
yeah,
have you
people don't
warmed
understand.
it?
I love to make things in pumpkin shells, and it's just kind of a little snack mix. And you rub the insides with brown sugar.
Okay.
Okay, after you
Any
clean
kind
all
of
the guts
oil?
out. No oil. Brown sugar a little bit, rub the insides, mix up your favorites. I've got pumpkin seeds, some cinnamon graham cereal, I've got actually dried apples in this.
Oh, I tasted those.
Dried apples,
What
pretzels.
temperature?
Slow and low.
Okay.
So only about 200, 250, and you'll smell it. You can just kind of taste it. And pumpkins are all different sizes, so there's really not measurements. You kind of just have to make your own until you see what fills it up, you know.
Real quick. Can you eat the insides?
Oh,
if
yeah,
you didn't
that's-
put that in there, you
Yes,
could eat
that's
the pumpkin?
that's what they process pumpkins. You know, there's all different kinds of pumpkins. Jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, sugar pumpkins, all different. But most of the pumpkins actually grown are for processing pumpkins, for the canned pumpkin. You just kind of mix up your Chex Mix, put a little brown sugar, cinnamon.
You know what? If you're
and
having a
pour some
little
butter.
Halloween party,
Isn't that cute?
What an
it's
awesome
adorable.
thing, yeah.
And you can bake cakes, like I bake cakes in them and all kinds of crazy things. So Illinois has.
this is one of those things I wish we had all year, pumpkins.
I do too. I always eat the Thanksgiving meal or fall foods, and then I think, why don't we do this more often? We do it once a year. And also our apples, we've been lucky enough to be at the orchards today. We got to bring back some apples and learned all about the best ones for cooking and different things. And so I wanted to incorporate that in my recipe today. It's a real simple recipe.
What do you
but
call
it's-
this?
It's actually delicious. These are sloppy joes, but I'm making them with lean pork, the other white meat, lean pork. You can get a good lean pork with just 10% fat, and then I'm also incorporating some apples and onions,
Okay.
garlic, of course, and then my secret sauce here.
We'll have to talk about
We'll talk
this.
about that in a minute.
I'm sure it's one of those
So-
things you're not going to tell us everything in here, so
Oh,
everyone
no.
doesn't make it.
No, I do. It's already out there. It's on my
Oh, you
website.
do?
Yes.
Do you?
I love to share the health, I like to say. And so we're going to get our skillet warmed up over a little bit medium
I could
high
drink
heat.
this.
The cool thing about pork, usually when you use pork's usually got a little bit more fat, so you don't even have to use oil in this recipe,
Okay.
which is really cool. So we're going to start out with a little bit of our, I love fresh garlic. I think it smells delicious, it's good for your heart, it tastes delicious. So we're going to add a little bit of that in there. We're going to add our onions.
How much?
This is about half of a large onion. I say per 1 pound of meat, I use about a cup of onions and a cup of apples because I really like to fluff up this recipe with lots of healthy ingredients. But it's probably 1 apple, maybe 1 smaller onion. This is about an apple. And what I like to do, since of course sometimes you have picky eaters, I like to go ahead and put these in the food processor because it minces them up very fine for this recipe. You can
I would
chop
have
them.
never known that was an apple. I had to ask you what that was
Yes,
because it's so small.
isn't that amazing? And you know, there's all kinds. I love stuffing at Thanksgiving when you use apple onion stuffing. So that's kind of how I came up with this recipe a little bit. And I also wanted to incorporate the apples and things into it. So I thought, why not? And everyone loves a good sloppy Joe, right?
Yes, we do.
So you're going to get that going in. You can actually just start to add your pork in there. And you know, pork actually cooks just about like beef. It browns up really nicely. Sometimes it's a little hard to crumble, so it may take a little bit longer on that. But while we're cooking this up, we can talk a little bit about the sauce.
Okay, yes, let's do.
Have you ever eaten at a Chipotle
I have.
restaurant?
I have.
Okay. It's absolutely delicious.
And this
to me.
smells like I'm at Chipotle restaurant.
It does. Well, I'm obsessed with their dressing, and I never could figure out what was in it. You know, I kept trying to invent all these recipes and.
Did you ever ask like a waitress? What's
Well,
in that?
I did one time, and they of course didn't have a clue.
Sure.
I mean, you know, they're just working. So I would always, when I'd go, I'd ask for extras, and I'd bring them home, and I'd spill it all over the car because
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
gave me a
sure.
little thing. You know
Yeah.
how that goes. So anyway, I started doing some research, and it looks. What would you think the main ingredient is in that? By looking
Vinegar.
at it. Okay, well, besides vinegar, the red.
Chili pepper.
Oh, you're smart. I thought it was a tomato-y based. You know, I was obsessed with putting tomatoes in it, trying to figure out what kind of tomatoes, and
I actually see
it's
chili
not.
flakes. Is it
It's
pepper or
chipotle pepper in adobe sauce.
Adobe
There's not
sauce?
even tomatoes in this.
Wow.
Okay.
What gives it the red? The chili pepper?
Chipotle, yeah. It's a reddish, real dark, beautiful color. But you buy them in just a little can at the grocery store. And so I started doing a little research on the internet and tinkering around, and I came up with this recipe, and I use it on everything.
So when you
It's
first took that
absolutely
first
delicious.
bite, did you go,
I was like, wow.
that's it?
I mean, I had to tweak it a little bit.
What
but,
is like the little green specks? What
Okay,
would
that
be?
is just some Italian seasoning to season it. There's fresh garlic, salt and pepper, Italian seasoning. And then I used in this one, you use a half a cup of red wine vinegar, but you use only about a fourth a cup of, I used avocado oil, which is even something different. And I really like the avocado oil. It's fine with any type of oil, actually. You know, you can kind of pick your favorite. But I used an avocado oil in that. And then like.
It smells sweet. What
Yeah,
is that?
there's a little bit of honey. I used a little bit of honey in it. Not
Natural,
a lot.
all
natural. So it's an all natural, and you know it lasts in your refrigerator for about a week probably. It's usually gone in 3 days at our house. But the cool thing about it is I've made up some slaw today with it, and basically all this is, you know, cabbage, maybe a little bit of onions, but your slaw. This is a new kind that I've been using. It's angel hair, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's called. See how fine this is shredded.
So you buy it
It's
like
an angel.
that?
You can actually buy this now in the package like that, and so
What all
that's
have you
actually
got
one
in
of my
here? Do you
beloved
have a
buys.
little, what do you have?
That's
The
just
angel?
the dressing on it with a packet of slaw.
That's all?
That is all.
You know what would have been cool too? Is a little sliver of almonds.
Yes, those would be good too on there. Now it's a little spicy, so this sauce will put it. You know, it'll light you up. Is it not good?
It's amazing.
It's just
it's
like,
amazing.
and to me, it tastes really close to what they sell at Chipotle. So
Wow.
it's very good.
Wow.
So we're going to continue to brown this up.
Could someone make this with as I spit everywhere. Someone make this with hamburger.
Oh, you can use hamburger, you can use turkey. I like the pork mixed with the apple and onion.
Okay.
Okay, better than the red meat. I don't know why. You know, you always hear about I guess the reason I make a pork stuffing for Thanksgiving that has apple and onion in it. And so that's why I paired it. But yes, by all means, you know, if you wanted to use your lean burgers or turkey burger or even ground chicken, you could. Ground chicken would be actually really good with this as well. But we eat a lot of chicken, so I was trying to
be different.
You know, something
kick it up
something
a notch.
different. And you know, people sometimes are afraid of pork, but they don't realize that you can get a real lean cut of pork. You know, and it's got actually some of the turkey burger has got more fat in it than this.
Seriously?
Believe it or not. You just have to read your labels, read your package.
And you tell me this is organic.
Yes, I'm very careful with my meats. That's one thing. And what I try to do, because they can be a little more expensive, okay? To me, it's worth it. But what I do is plan my meals around whatever meat. And when I find meat that goes on sale, I'll buy it up and throw it in the freezer. But like I'll go through, and usually there's some type of organic meat on sale each week. So then I'll go and pick up all those packages and I'll have them in my freezer when I'm ready to go. And then you're not paying any more for it.
Okay.
So that's just like a little trick that I use.
Okay, I'm seeing salt and pepper. What is that over there?
So we are going to just add some, I'm just using some sea salt and some pepper. So that's easy. This is such a super easy recipe.
What's the brown liquid?
This is a little bit of Worcestershire sauce.
Okay. Is it like diluted with water or is that just strictly?
No, it's straight up, just a couple tablespoons. And that's really all you're going to need for this. You can also make these into burger patties. You know, you can make them into burgers if you like. But I just thought, you know, we all love a good sloppy joe, and I thought, why not? It's just something different. And I've served these as little sliders, so I brought some slider buns. It's really great if you toast up your buns for this. Put a little butter on them and toast up your buns.
And the slaw goes on top?
And the slaw goes on top of it.
Wow.
Okay, and what I even do, and I know if you think, I added a little bit of the sauce in when they're done. I kind of mix it in with them, on top of them, and it's just fantastic. Now, like I say, it gives you a little kick. So when you got kids, like for my daughter, I don't add the sauce, you know, in this, but she puts ketchup on everything, so she puts ketchup on it.
You know, I noticed that in your cookbooks, and when you do recipes here on the Spiel, you like that kick, don't you?
I love it. Don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
but like you said, it's hard for my daughter. Doesn't do the kick real well, so I don't always get it. But you probably put a little kick, take it out before Haven gets it, and then kick it up.
I do. Even like on my dark chocolate, I add the chipotle pepper, you know, and just I love it. It's been a great day getting to be outside, and it was so great to actually go out. We got to actually go to the orchard, pick apples off the tree, and bring them in here and cook with them. We made a great apple crisp. Oh, it was delicious. We had some apple cider donuts.
No.
So it's just been real good working with in the farmers. They're so nice, and they're so proud of what they've accomplished in their land, and just hard workers. So
I tell you what, when you're out there and you're running around and you're doing your grocery shopping or wherever you are, and you see a farmer's market, stop.
Oh.
Stop.
Because I always say, once you taste fresh, you won't want the rest.
Right.
It's so much better. It's so delicious.
And like you said, they're proud of their product.
They'll
talk
proud.
to you about it.
They'll talk to you about it, and you don't have to be scared. Like, they explain to us a lot what goes into it. A lot about, you know, everyone's really worried about all these chemicals, and they showed us how they wash everything and how everything's safe. And one of the ladies that ran the orchard started it back in 1946, Miss Helen. You know, this will help people out that get worried about chemicals and different things. She literally lived off the land, ate bacon every day, ate apples every day, and just passed away. I think she was 104 or 105.
Wow.
So you know I'm telling you,
you can't tell me that doesn't have a lot to do with it.
You cannot tell me. And she was very active in the farm, but she also ate what they grew. So I feel very safe, you know, about eating anything that's coming from that farm.
You'll be good.
But with pork, it cooks really well, browns up really nicely. So I think we need to take a break.
Okay.
Plate some of these up. Okay. And come back and taste them. Leaves and you can't look at them. What do you think?
Oh my gosh. Again, tell me how new this recipe is.
I didn't want to do, you know, we all do apple crisp and I love it and all that, but I thought I love incorporating apples and onions into like meats and stuffings. So I thought, why not try it? And then I was obsessed with this dressing which just came about.
So here's what
this
happens.
is very new.
Here's what happens.
Get a
you
shot
got your
of
kick.
that.
You got your kick in your sauce.
So this to me is just
The ultimate.
the ultimate, the ultimate. And I mean, I love it. I mean, like I
Incredible.
said, it is messy, but it's great for tailgate parties. You can do the little sliders. And also the recipe will be on my website, www.healthyhippiechef.com.